would you like to give?
Currently, okay, on the top of my mind, what I can recall is some great books which
Mm-hmm.
you should read is Sapiens.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
Second is Emotional Intelligence. It is
Okay.
a must-have book for everyone. It's not just about managing your emotions, but it's also necessary for you in every aspect of life, personal
Mm-hmm.
relations, office work, promotions.
Okay.
Uh, Third thing I would suggest is that's it at this moment. Like these are the two only ones which I would like.
Okay. So please go ahead with your questions for me.
Yeah, I would like to know like when did you get into the habit of reading and what inspired you? Like what was before when you were reading and who gave you that thought of okay, I should also start reading? What
Okay.
was the
You know,
inspiration?
yes. I wanted to start reading right from a very young age, but I did not had that environment. Even when I was in school, none of my friends used to read anything. They never shared anything with me
Hmm.
regarding reading books or novels. But at home, my mom used to read newspaper every day, magazines every now and then, and she used to read, few books every now and then. She used to tell me the stories from those books, and it always inspired me to start reading, but I never did. And in during engineering, I finally decided to, research about the types of books that are available and what interests me. And, I love watching mystery thrillers, suspense thriller movies. And even when I had to choose a book, I went ahead with the mystery thrillers. And the first book I ever read was Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson in 2018. That was my first book, but the English in that book was slightly different from the English I was familiar with, be it talking or reading. So I found
Hmm.
it difficult in the initial stages when I started reading the book, but over the years, as and when I continued reading the books, I improved to connect to the author.
Hmm.
Because when we are reading an American author book, Irish author book, an author from England or any other part of the world, their writing is different. The language, even though it's English,
Hmm.
the language is slightly different.
Hmm.
And you also enjoy when you notice the changes. That's another amazing aspect about the book. So it was in 2018 when I started reading the book. And the moment when I completely fell in love with reading the book was when I picked up this book called Devotion of Suspect X by my beloved author Kigo Higashina. I've read many, many books of his, and I love his writing style. And also, many of Indian movies have drawn inspiration from many of his books. So
Hmm.
I think, reading his books, every book has, many stories from Japan, and I have vicariously traveled across Japan reading his book.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Which is like the bestest book you have read until now,
Oh, it's very
and
difficult to
you would
choose.
like to suggest it to everyone.
It's very difficult to choose. I think you ask any book reader, they will not be able to, give you just one book as an answer. But of course, if somebody likes mystery thrillers, they have to read Devotion of Suspect X. And my next suggestion is you have to read this book called Housemaid by
Hmm.
Frida McFadden. And is it Frida McFadden?
I
Let
don't
me just,
know.
yes, it's Freda McFadden, Housemaid. And
Hmm.
another psychological thriller is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough.
Okay.
These are amazing books. And of course, Sapiens. I think, Sapiens, people have to develop an interest to read books like Sapiens. It's not for everybody. When I read Sapiens 2 years ago, and my experience reading it now is a lot different. Because
Hmm.
sometimes you need a lot of time to connect to something that you're reading, whether it's an article, a book, or something in the newspaper. I think not every one of us can connect to the article all the time. And
Right.
the connection that I'm able to form with Sapiens now is amazing.
Also, like it's if you're interested in history, it's much
Hmm.
interesting to read it. Yes, I'm
Yes.
talking about Sapiens.
Yeah, and if you're a person who wants to delve deeper into something, find out intricate details, find out the patterns
Hmm.
from centuries to centuries, I think this is a book for you.
True, true.
Right.
Okay, my next question is like, would you like to delve into another different genres of book reading other than psychological thrillers?
Yes,
And
I keep experimenting.
okay, which one
You
are
have
you
not
trying
finished
at
the
this moment,
question.
or are you planning to?
Yeah, I did try science fiction. My first science fiction was Project Hail Mary. We
Hmm.
also, both of us have watched the movie recently. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it in some time. So Project Hail Mary, the book was amazing. And I also read a lot of fictions, but fictions I don't read fiction all the time. There are books, mostly, my friend, you suggest me some books, and mostly most of the books that I've read from non-fiction section are from your suggestions,
Hmm.
and very few that I have, come across. Other than that, yes, Sapiens, it is from it's again a different book. And I've also read few of, Dr. Abdul Kalam sir's book.
Which one? Can
Abdul
you
Kalam
remember
sir's
it?
book.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yes, yes. It's called APJ Abdul Kalam Governance for Growth in India, and another one is Turning Points.
Okay.
Yes.
Great, great.
The Turning Point says, like, it's a sequel to Wings of Fire.
Okay.
Yes, and the Almanac of Nawal Ravikant. It is also another celebrated book.
Yeah, I have to read it.
Yes, yes.
So the next question is, we would
Mm-hmm.
like to discuss about Project Hail Mary, the book
Yeah,
versus the movie, and how was your experience
it was
in both of it
totally disappointing. Totally, I would say totally disappointing
with respect to the movie, right?
with respect to the movie. But book, I think, while I was reading the book, I appreciated the writing style and imagined, how can a human being come up with such a narrative? The imaginations, the author, which has been described in the book, is exceptional. And I think that part was missing in the movie.
Hmm. Yeah,
It
right.
was, yeah, I felt like every chapter from the movie was summarized into many of the scenes that we saw in the movie. And especially when you've gone through so many details while you're reading and you're watching bits and pieces from the book, I think you're not satisfied. I was definitely not satisfied. It was a great attempt, but I think I went in with no, I cannot say a lot of expectations, but I wanted to have a nice experience watching a space mission movie. At least
Hmm.
good background score like we have experienced when we were watching Interstellar. I
Hmm.
think whenever we talk, Interstellar has been part of our conversation many, many times.
Yeah.
Be it some scenes, some music in the background, their emotions, their facial expressions. I think these things are missing in this movie. See, I'm not trying to compare both the movies, but I think as somebody who has read the book, we will definitely carry some expectations into the theater. I think that was not met.
True,
How was
true,
your
true.
experience?
Same, like I had read a lot in the book, and the movie had very less details. Also, it's
Yeah,
like maybe since I'm a hardcore Interstellar fan, I
mm,
was comparing it every moment to Interstellar, and
right,
it's not good to compare both of them because they are of different, what, same genre but different storylines and what the director wants to
right,
show. But
yes,
still, like it was like okay, not so great, but still fine.
right. What's your next question?
That's all. Like you can discuss if you have anything else.
Okay, so why should anyone cultivate a reading habit according to you?
There are many things, many
I still
reasons for
remember
that.
the answer you gave yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm thinking on
It was
different
a
lines.
good one. Yeah.
I'm thinking on different lines.
Yes.
Like, firstly, like a dumb person is not good. So read more to learn more about the world. It will make you smart. Second is you
Right.
can use this smartness anywhere. Like if you're talking with someone, you will have nice points to talk. Your conversations will be interesting. They will
Right.
spark curiosity in another person. Third is to like nowadays, like we are so much distracted with phones and all. I'm repeating the same answer. And reading is like a meditation for you. If you can devote
Mm.
like at least 15 minutes every day to reading, you are generating, you're cultivating that focus muscle in your mind. That is one
Right.
of the reasons.
Hmm.
That's all I feel. What about you? What do you think? Why reading should be done by everyone?
Yes. I think, reading this one thing, one activity will have a ripple effect on so many things.
Hmm.
If you are deciding to read a book, I think that's the beginning of a kind of discipline that you are trying to develop in your life. Maybe
Hmm.
you might set aside, some time